Welcome to Pensar Basketball Live. The Toronto Raptors get smoked from wire to wire against the New Orleans Pelicans. They lose 138 to 100. Oh my goodness. It was bad. And yeah, there's one very clear silver lining in this game, and I'll take you through it. All right. So the Raptors on the second night of a back-to-back. No RJ Barrett. Allegedly some minutes restrictions for some of the guys who just came back from injuries, namely Emmanuel Quickley and Jakob Pertl. Every single player played tonight, except for Otto Porter. There's a cap. You don't get to put Otto Porter on the court. Even Chris Boucher managed to get off the court onto the court in the fourth quarter. Jalen McDaniels also got onto the court in the fourth quarter and did something that I didn't think was possible. He played the worst game of the season. Am I going to blame this entire game on Jalen McDaniels, who played garbage time? No. But this was bad. This was really bad. How do I know it's really bad? Well, usually these lives start out with about 350 people to 400 people, and tonight we have 120. That's how I know it's bad. And yeah, it's yuck. And, things like this, like times like this, they lead a lot of people to come out of the woodwork. People who maybe have some crazy ideas. Such crazy ideas like this. Look at this right here. Look at this comment. Our most reliable player, Bruce Brown. And then we got Jacinto here saying, been saying for 2 years, but everyone wanted a young player over a legit superstar and all-time great madness, which was a response to, could have had Kevin Durant. Then we got, do not offer Scotty an extension. Let him go to restricted. Oh, if you told me these two numbskulls were the same two people, same for IQ. Okay, why did I start those comments? I started those comments because I wanted to give you a very clear directive on who not to be, right? Oh my God. Erica, this is RJ Barrett's team. RJ Barrett's the leader of our team. When RJ plays, he brings intensity when we play. Lord, should we start our first ever live out with a prayer, maybe for these lost souls of basketball? Just craziness. Bro, I already told you I don't want to put you through that, man. We're through it. Jeez. Anyways, let's talk about it. Look, man, you're coming off a second night of a back-to-back. Scotty played 48 minutes last night. Emmanuel Quickley played 43. There were no legs. Everything was gassed. This team is clearly just not playing for anything right now, and you can see it. They don't have a goal. You're trying to play basketball without a goal. It's just pickup, right? And once in a while, you're going to face a team when you don't have it, and they're going to beat you by 15 to 20. They're going to keep it nice and respectable. They're going to keep you at arm's length. They're going to beat you wire to wire. Unfortunately, once in a while, you do find a team like this that sees that you're not ready to play and is going to humiliate you. And at one point, this really did look like it was going to be like a 60-point blowout. Like right there, right? It was 105 to 69. Let me see when the New Orleans Pelicans in the second quarter already had a 97% chance of winning this game when the score hit 49 to 30. The Raptors came into this game as 11.5, I believe 10.5 or 11.5 underdogs on the road. I can't remember the last time the spread was that decidedly in favor of another team, not the Raptors. I mean, even when they play really good teams. And the New Orleans Pelicans are a pretty good team. They're 15-10 at home. They're 29-21 after this game. But they're not the 96 Bulls. So why was the spread so high? Well, namely, Vegas knew a couple things. Number one, you play second night of a back-to-back with less than 24-hour turnaround, you're probably going to have dead legs. And the Raptors did. From the start, they were bad. And it showed. It showed across the board. You had a high turnover game. Let's not even count the 4 turnovers from Jalen McDaniels. He still had a really high turnover game. You got out-rebounded. You got outshot from 3. And you got outshot from the field. That's how you lose a game by this much. But that can't be it, right? That can't be everything. Clearly, you lose the possession battle as well. So they not only shoot the ball better than you, they shoot the ball better from 3 than you. Okay. They also took 20 more shots than you. Points off of turnovers, 30. Yikes. Points in the paint, the Raptors get crushed. A lot of cross matching where Scotty got stuck on Jonas Valanciunas a lot early in the game and really seemed to struggle with that matchup. They were going back and forth. The largest lead of the night for the Pelicans was 45. 45. Yikes. Brandon Ingram had himself a game. Holy crap. And this team they just got real disrespectful, right? Jose Alvarado doing his shtick or whatever. He got off the bench. He hasn't been playing a hell of a lot, but he got off the bench, with 11 points. Brandon Ingram, 16 for 21, 8 for 11 from 3, 41 points for him. CJ McCollum felt really unstoppable, right? I mean, he's overpaid, but he didn't look like it tonight. 20 points. Jonas Valanciunas, I mean, hey, as bad as it looked, Scotty, got away with a lot in that matchup. Jonas ends the night with 10 points and 12 rebounds in 20 minutes. He got a lot of tips. When the game was out of line, I think that he got a whole bunch of offensive rebounds. He got 8 offensive rebounds tonight. He really hurt the Raptors. Quiet game for Herb Jones. Quiet game for Zion Williamson. They didn't really need him. 16 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. From the Raptors side, Bruce Brown, allegedly our savior, our great player, who's probably going to get traded. Let's hope gets traded in the next couple of days, or next 3 days. We will see. Scotty Barnes, second leading scorer tonight with 17, led all starters. Jakob Poeltl had a pretty good game, actually. I liked his game overall, 14 points, 9 rebounds. He drew the assignment of Zion. I'm surprised to see how the Raptors guarded Zion. Granted, his three-point shot has not been going in, but man, they were just playing him like a complete non-shooter. This is not the Zion we saw last year. Do you remember the Zion we saw last year who took the entire team bursting, past 4 defenders? Just that player is just, that's not this Zion, and I haven't seen that Zion much this year. He's had some big games, yeah, but he's scoring in different ways. That athletic phenomenon isn't there. You know what I mean? So that's been really, I don't know. Emmanuel quickly struggled tonight a little bit. I think, initiating the offense, growing into this role of a primary / secondary initiator. I don't think he had a great game. Gary Trent Jr. goes out in the first half, does not come back for the second. I think he had back stiffness. Was it lower back stiffness? Off the bench, the Raptors decide, to pull the plug on Dennis Schroeder early. Thank God. He had a really bad game. He was negative 25, 0 for 0 points. Probably the first time this year. I think Dennis Schroeder had 0 points. He went 0 for 4 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3, 5 assists, 2 turnovers, 0 points, negative 25. Jordan Nwora, tried to stuff one in late. He had 3 turnovers, 7 points, 5 assists. It comes and goes with him. I don't think he necessarily had a bad game, nor do I think he had a really good game. He just had a game. One guy who did have a really good game, and this is not just because he padded his stats in garbage time or whatever. No, he had quite a few of these points when the game was, well, not in the balance, but at least still reasonable-ish. He was a big part of anything that went right for the Raptors tonight, and that was Grady Dick with 22 points, a career high, season high, the first Raptor to crack 20 points as a rookie since Scotty Barnes. I thought he was great. I loved his game tonight. I've really loved everything I've seen from him for the last month, right? Just analytically, we'll take a look at it at some point, I'm sure. But he has just been really good. I've liked his professionalism. And, there's a lot of people who say, you can't learn anything from a game like this. You just can't. You can't learn anything from games like this because they're not close. Well, you do learn a little bit about the youngest player on your roster, which is Grady Dick. I think you learned that he's a pro. I think you learned that he tries hard, that he's trying to defend. This was a big weakness for him early in the season where he really couldn't guard a shadow, okay? And he was really struggling with that. And I think that he is just showing me that he clearly listens. He listens to the coaching staff. He listens. He's aware of his weaknesses. He's listening to Garrett Temple. You can always see him when he goes to the bench. He's always listening to that and Garrett Temple and ask them like, what did I do? What could I do differently, et cetera, et cetera. So I know you're trolling, but I just want to let you know that I'm not the same person I was last year. See, last year I would ask you to call in, I would yell at you. Now I'm just going to block you. So if you're going to continue talking shit, you're going to get blocked. People are trying to have a rational discussion. It's bad enough to watch this team without like ridiculous people like you, coming on and trying to, rattle people up and stuff. It's just like it's not necessary. You're really showing like, what am I saying? Right. You're really showing that your parents didn't raise you right. Right. There we go. Okay. So, yeah. I mean, look, like this is a very talented team, right? I mean, there's no denying it. They're one of the deepest teams. They're one of the most physical teams. On a night where you decide that you're not going to compete, you're not going to fight, they're going to kick your ass, and they did. If there are any calls, definitely call in. Link is in the description if you want to talk it out. Yeah. Grady has to start. Are we right? Why does it matter that he starts? I just care that he plays minutes, man. At this point, the natural progression is for him to come off the bench. That's probably going to be more in line with his role next year. And looking forward to next year, you have 4 variables on this team, and you need to identify who they are. You need to figure out who are these players. Now, let's say that you are one of the people, and I'm assuming the Masai and Darko are among these people that believe that Scottie Barnes can be the number 1 option on a team that expects to be competitive next year. Okay, his offseason growth, development, maturity, a year older. That's the way this is trending, right? It's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to find a player better than him. So that's your guy. Okay, some of you may hate it. Some of you may hate it, but I certainly don't hate it. I love it. I love the fact that Scottie's our franchise player, and I think that he will do fine in that role. So what you need to figure out is who are 2, 3, and 4, right? Jordan saying, Rob, what happens if we suck next year too? I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It is call-in link isn't up, Rob. Just a disclaimer. Really? Let me check. Oh, you're right. My bad. Hang on one sec. I will add the call-in link. Sitting here wondering why no one's calling in, but I didn't add the call-in link. My bad. Give me one sec. Oh, shoot. Looks like I can't. Okay. I'm going to put the link here. There. Call in. Oh, zero sum. Hey, Benzari, is there any way I can pull up the data, Scottie's defensive assignments, and how much time he spends defending the first? As in like the first option? Yeah, you can. I believe Cleaning the Glass and Synergy would have that data for sure. Araf, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Not too bad, man. How are you?
Pretty good after seeing Grady tonight.
Yeah. Just one sec here. Zero sum. Yeah. So first and second option. I mean, you can see matchup difficulty on a night-to-night basis. You can see what positions he guards. It's not always clear which team, how they assign their first option. So you would just want to look at matchup difficulty. I assure you that Scottie's matchup difficulty is very difficult. Okay. Yes, Araf, what did you think of Grady's game tonight, man?
Yeah, I think he's getting used to like the NBA range. Some of his shots are still kind of short, but like the corner ones are pretty good now. I think he just needs more reps, and probably he should be starting because the season's pretty much over. So I don't know.
Okay, once again, why? So this is the same question that came up in the chat. Why? Why do you want him to start? What benefit does he have from starting? Like, let's just say he starts and plays 30 minutes versus comes off the bench and plays 30 minutes. What difference does it make to you?
I just think ultimately, like, he should be a starter, like, going forward. I think he's gonna add to spacing and stuff like that. So I just want to see him in that role.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm not sure that the Raptors will see him as a starter though. I think he's probably got one more year of coming off the bench. So I think they're trying to prime him for the role that he's going to have next season. But that's just me. Maybe he makes a huge jump, but um if you're planning on starting, see, like RJ and IQ are probably going to start because of contract, right? So Grady's not being one of those guys. Scotty's going to start. So if Grady's starting, that means Scotty's a 4, which means you're small, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So if Scotty starts at the 2 with IQ and RJ, right, and you put 2, and you have, now you can start a 4, but provided you have to go find that 4. Like now you're big. The whole gap is you're big if Scotty's a guard, and you're small if he's a big, right?
Yeah. I mean, what if do you see them anyway putting Quick to the bench and putting Scotty at the 1 and bring Grady on?
Um, I think you fundamentally lack rim pressure if you put. Granted, he doesn't put a ton of rim pressure right now, but he's also like a deep space shooter. Um, I don't know, man. Like right now, do you think Grady's a better defender than Emmanuel Quickly? He's a better shooter than Emmanuel Quickly. What does he do better than Emmanuel Quickly right now?
I mean, right now, not much, but I guess like with more reps, he'll improve. So I just want to see where
I
he
think,
could be.
yeah, I have a feeling that he's going to be a 6th man, maybe a 7th man coming up next year, but that'll be a hell of a good thing, like a really good thing. I don't think people understand like how difficult it is to be a real rotation player who's not bad for their team at the age of 21. Now, going up next year beyond that, now I could certainly see him being a starter. But for him to be a starter right now would push Scotty into a big role. And you just don't. There may be some matchups where you might want to go there, but when you look at how big other teams are, the so like size is back in the NBA. Like look at the
Yeah.
team we just faced tonight. Everyone was 6'8", with the exception of Jose Alvarado. Like everyone they played 6'7", 6'8", 6'5", 6'6", and you got like Dennis Schroeder out there, Bruce Brown, Emmanuel Quickly. You're small. You're small. You got Scotty getting cross matched on JV. Scotty, having no hope against Zion. Like you're just getting shifted. I mean, they have 2 guys who legit weigh 300 pounds in their front court. You know what I mean? 280, 290.
Yeah.
That's pretty much JV is like 260. What's JV? Like 270, 280? Probably. Like he's huge. He's a human ox,
Yeah.
and Zion is the same. So like you've got so much size in the front court with those 2 guys. So it's like, I'm not saying get a big plotting center. Like we already got one. But I'm saying like you need to be a little bit bigger up front is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing is, your OG theory,
Mm-hmm.
like how OG's gonna come back next season.
Mm-hmm.
I have a crazier theory that all these moves Masai is doing is to enter the Raptors into the Donovan Mitchell sweepstakes. Like all the picks and stuff that we were accumulating is gonna go towards that.
I don't think so.
You don't see him moving, or you just think it's
I
gonna go?
I don't think we can get him. Number 1, number 2, I'm not sure he would come. Number 3, the picks that we have are not the picks that are going to get Donovan Mitchell to Toronto. They're not very valuable picks. Hate to break it to people, but there are teams that could beat this offer very easily. The Raptors don't have a ton of pieces that they could trade away that the Cavaliers would want in this case. Like, I mean, sure, like you could say, like, does RJ have value? No. Who has value? Just Scotty. That's it. You have one like really valuable piece that you can trade with those picks to get Donovan Mitchell. You're not trading Scotty Barnes. So yeah, I don't think so. But hey, like great. If it happens, it happens. But I don't think so. I'm not sure where he goes though. Does he go to New York? There's been less and less talk about
That's
that.
his preferred destination, but I don't know if the Cavs are gonna do that, or
Yeah.
are they gonna just
Yeah. I'm not sure, man. I think I'm yesterday I was having this debate with this guy about how far you can go in the playoffs if Jalen Brunson is your top guy. I'm convinced that you can't go all the way. That at some point you're going to hit an upper limit of where that takes you, but it'd be interesting to see. Do the Knicks believe that they need a star, or do they believe Jalen Brunson has actually blossomed into that star? I don't know.
Do you think the Knicks have enough pieces to get Donovan Mitchell? Or?
Sure. Yeah. Um, do they need to? He just come. Right? They do sign and trade. Otherwise they're going to lose him for nothing. So I mean, I'm not really sure. They've talked about trading Julius Randle plus picks because they maintained most of their first rounders by keeping those first rounders out of the OG Anunoby trade. So now they're talking about like potentially moving Julius Randle plus those picks in order to get their upgrade superstar, right? Now, who will that upgrade superstar be? Will that be, I don't know. Will that be LeBron James? Let's see, we'll find out. But I mean, they're just, it's a weird trade market because it's like there aren't any superstars or even stars on the market right now.
It's been really quiet too. Like, I don't know. It's like 2 days away and then nothing's really going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like a lot has already happened. Right. Like a lot has already happened. Like main pieces have gone, been traded. OG, Pascal have been traded. Zach LaVine is out for the season. Joel Embiid might be out. That takes the Sixers out of it too, because it's like they were one team that was desperate. The Knicks are ahead of schedule. Maybe they don't want to trade. I have a feeling that quite a few players are going to get traded. I'm hearing the Raptors definitely want to trade Chris Boucher.
You think Bruce Brown and Schroeder will follow, or?
God, I hope Schroeder follows, man. I could do without him. Like I just, it's like I trace back to like when the season went off the rails, and it seems like a lot of it had to do with him. There's just been so much Dennis Schroeder controversy and drama and bullshit and apologies and like the signing up the jersey to Jason Tatum. Like, I mean, this season was like, I mean, at that moment, I legitimately believed that season was not lost. But the minute he did that, I'm like, this season is lost. So,
yeah,
I don't know. And I mean, like, I think like we traded Pascal Siakam a couple days later. So, like, I mean, that didn't even get its full due in the news cycle, right?
pretty much.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for having me.
See you, man. See
you.
Okay. If there are any more callers, link is right here. For some reason, I cannot put it in the description, but I'll put it in the comment section right there. Who is Reem? Sorry, I'm trying to read these comments. You guys only like one player on the team. That's not true. That's not true at all. Yeah. I mean, I don't think have I even said the word Scotty Barnes? And like, I mean, we're 23 minutes into this. Did I even talk about Scotty? Like, I think I talked about him for 12 seconds. Oh, I pissed off Knicks fans so hard yesterday. I said Tyrese Maxey was better than Jalen Brunson. I don't know, man. I kind of got upset because I was on a Twitter live yesterday, and somebody said, they kept talking about the Raptors and the Knicks like they're equivalent teams, like equivalent franchises, and it just pissed me off. Like, I'm a New Yorker, and I understand that. Like, I get that, but like that team has been so trash for like 2 decades. It's legit. Went to the finals, I think 99. Spurs, shortened season. It's been downhill since then. Okay. There were like a couple of competitive teams there, a lot of bloated contracts. I still have my Allen Houston, signed NBA basketball official leather. But the way these guys were talking on the space last night, they're like real cocky. So yeah, I'm a little bit torn. I like Jalen Brunson a lot. I like OG Anunoby a lot. I like Isaiah Hardenstein a lot. There's a lot of players on that team I like, and it's my former hometown. I gotta be honest, I'm kind of rooting for them to lose because I can't stand Knicks fans sometimes. Man, they're so annoying. They are really annoying. I don't know. It's just like they have this like y'all will get there someday kind of thing, and it's just like, bro, like honestly, I'm gonna piss on your fucking like parade when OG Anunoby comes right back, right? Like these guys are like, act like you've been there before, man. Like, come on, you know? It's just weird. Anyways, like hearing a fan base like be good for the first time and talk so much shit, it's very weird, right? Lil John, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So I know it's crazy after a game like that to say this, but I truly believe this team is not that bad. So let me give you. I'm not zagging. I truly believe this. So I think, like, if you remember the last month of OG, he
Mhm.
just he just didn't really like. He wasn't there, right? He was there, but he wasn't there, right?
Yep.
I believe there's players on this team that know they're not going to be here, and that's sucking the life out of the team.
Agreed.
And like, listen, I'm not saying they're a playoff team, but I think they're a playing team under the right, like, like I believe in Darko, but I think there's a real like, I think there's a team that's like 35 and 47, like a team that can compete night in night out.
Mhm.
And I think people like they're kind of looking at the scores the past few weeks, where one game RJ's out, a couple of weeks Pirtle's out, and they're looking at these scores and thinking this team is, one of the worst teams in the NBA, and I don't see that. I see a team that actually can compete, but it's not looking right because of guys like Bruce Brown, knowing they're not going to be here, and like I mean he's given them absolutely nothing, and he's way better than them. But then again, he's looked really good next to like all-time offensive talents like Jokic and KD, and as
Mhm.
as much as we like Scotty, he's not that right now. So I don't know.
I agree. I think chemistry, if like there was chemistry on this team, like in 2K when they have like a chemistry rating,
Yeah,
team's chemistry rating is like 0% right now. You see no
yeah,
communication. Guys go to the bench. There's like two guys talking. And unlike last year where it's like it was very, very, very concerning, like how bad it was or whatever, like it's not nearly as concerning this time around for me, you know?
because there's a direction, at
Yeah,
least.
exactly.
Yeah, there's direction, but like think about it. You can list like five guys. There's Dennis. There's Chris, who isn't even in the rotation. There's Bruce.
Hmm.
Who else? I feel like Jakob, tonight, fine, he's dealing with a rough matchup, but I feel like he hasn't really been there all the way. That's like four guys in the rotation, and then you had OG and Pascal. We're talking half the guys who played this year aren't really there, and I think that's kind of messing up. Like you're like there's like 6, 7 games left on the table that if those guys were really committed, those could have
Hmm.
been wins, right? So like I don't know.
Look,
I
man,
think
like
this
I've seen
team,
this team compete against some pretty good teams. I've also seen them lose to some terrible teams. Obviously, this season is not going the way you would like it to. There were some really tough breaks early in the season, but they were really competitive. Like the the brand of basketball was good. Scotty was playing really well. There was a lot of buy-in defensively. All the vibes were great. I feel like once this organization kind of made it clear that they're just kind of punting the season and they're willing to, not call out it's a cascading thing, right? Like earlier in the season, I noticed Pascal not boxing out. And then there was like an entire month or at least like, let's say 21 days where OG Anunoby doesn't play liquor defense. and you just have these like guys who are just kind of just checking out mentally one at a time because they're going to be moving on, and you just kind of make it clear that winning is not a priority. But you can't complain then when guys aren't going out and diving for loose balls.
Yeah, because they know they might not be here, and they're not gonna risk an injury for a team that
Exactly.
isn't gonna have them. Like Bruce Brown, like is he really gonna put in real effort knowing he might tear his ACL?
Absolutely. I agree with you. Like that's the thing. It's like, there are guys out there that will hustle really, really hard, regardless of what the situation is, just because that's how they're built, right? Like a
Yeah,
Jerome Williams or whatever. There just aren't a lot of those guys on this team right now.
yeah,
You know, there's a lot of stars or wannabe stars or finesse players, and those guys don't do shit when things are not going well. And if history is teaching us anything, it's that almost every single player who comes here is worse than they were at their previous stop, and every single player who leaves here is better than they were here. Okay, like Malachi,
yeah,
Precious, Pascal, OG, all overperforming what they were doing here, right?
yeah.
Bruce Brown,
Overtaxed.
Emmanuel Quickly, both much worse here. RJ Barrett's probably doing a little bit better, but he was just doing terribly for the Knicks. So yeah, I think
I'm really hoping they can get Quentin Grimes. If you just get a young guy who really has been waiting for minutes and has been waiting for his time,
but it
and you
doesn't do anything because he's coming into a rudderless ship. You know what I mean? He's not coming in like
well,
Scotty has yet
true.
to take over that like sort of leadership, like, hey, welcome to the Raptors. My name is Scotty Barnes. This is how we do shit
I
here.
disagree. I disagree. I think if you look at what Orlando has, there's like this youth, it's like almost like a college team. Like they're kind of like
Orlando
every,
sucks, bro.
no, but I listen. But they're a 500 team, right? Like I'm not saying I don't think they're anything special, but there's a vibe and energy around that organization. Like it's just youth and they're coming out. It's like a football game, right? It's like every Saturday. It's like a college football team. I think with
Right.
Quentin Grimes, if they add in a couple other young guys, you can kind of build this youth type of thing, and Scotty can spearhead that. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for with the Bruce Brown trade. Can they get another young guy who's pretty good, who might have like for example, what's the guy on I'm forgetting his name on the Pacers who they got from Boston, Neesmith.
Mm-hmm.
Can they find someone who has potential, who maybe like is in the wrong situation, like on a new team with more minutes can blossom, like, and then go on a like if he comes on this team with
Mm-hmm.
and there's just a bunch of young guys playing, I think the team could be like play 500 basketball the last 30 games of the season.
Right. But
What do
do
you
you
think?
want to? Why do you want to play 500 basketball so bad? You want to lose that pick?
Listen, I want the pick. Don't get me wrong. I do want to see competitive basketball because I think this team's not that bad.
Okay, but I mean, like, what is the point though? Like, like, here's the thing, dude. Like, we had 41 wins last year, right? Did it matter
Yeah,
this year? Did those wins
absolutely not.
against
Oh,
Charlotte do shit for us? No, right? And you had teams that lost a lot in the past, like Houston, like OKC. They've lost. I don't want to say the right way. They definitely didn't lose the right way, but they lost. They lost a ton. And what is it now? They're capable of winning again. So
yeah,
this
yeah.
this notion of like, well, once you lose, it's a superstition. It's like saying if don't wear white after Labor Day. It's nothing. It's not
No, no.
provable.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. There's people going crazy thinking this team is gonna go into the dumpster fire and become the Hornets. This team is gonna be fine. I do want to see like a youth type of, because I feel like there's a little bit of the old spirit left, and I kind of want a couple of other young guys to come in and kind of change the vibe.
I think the vibes will change once roles clarify, once roster clarifies. I think there's a lot of people that are just kind of like checked out. It's very difficult, very difficult. I feel when I've looked at teams where two guys are checked out for any reason, whatever the reason is, they're checked out. They're pissed off at the coach. They're pissed off at each other. They're pissed off at management. They're pissed off about their contract. They're pissed off about, not getting minutes. They're pissed off about, something that happened last week. Whatever, it doesn't matter. If two guys are disgruntled, it will create a weird tension around the team, right? When you have 5 or 6 guys that are kind of mentally checked out, it's never gonna look good. It's never gonna look good. You need complete buy-in. Look at what's happening with the Clippers right now, right? You don't see Russell Westbrook sulking about 20 minutes. If he was sulking, none of the success would be possible. I guarantee it.
Yeah, well, that's gonna happen. After that last stop with the Lakers, he's bought in completely. He knows this can't happen again for him. But you're right. Do you have anyone you're targeting for Bruce Brown?
What do you mean?
Is there any one guy in particular you're looking for? We spoke about Kevin Huerter before.
Okay. Kevin Huerter, it kind of extends your salary obligations beyond next year, right? And is there a bit of redundancy with Grady Dick? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It probably doesn't hurt to have 2 of those guys, but you probably can't play them both together too much. They have a lot of overlaps, right? Both decent rebounders, both struggle point of attack, both the same size, roughly, both movement shooters. It's just like you need different chess pieces. You can't have all the same chess pieces. So while I am not saying that Kevin Huerter is not worth $15 million, he's certainly worth $15 million. It just might be a bit of an overlap on a skill set you already have. What I would love is a cheap big that another team is kind of just not using, because some teams have like 3-4 centers and it feels like we have one.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested looking at guys like Day'Ron Sharpe. I know that the Nets don't necessarily need to move off of him, but he's interesting.
Yeah, like a Goga. The Magic, they have they're paying this guy by the name of Goga Padatse. I think he's getting paid like $2 million, and he's basically as good defensively as Jakob Poeltl.
He's pretty damn good, yeah. You can even look at stretch big prospects like Jalen Williams, Nikola Jovic, right? And again, teams are in different situations, right? The East feels very wide open right now. With Joel Embiid's injury, it feels like it's the Celtics and everybody else. Doc Rivers taking over with the Bucks and them losing a lot. That to me feels like very significant, because there are teams that are like, hey, maybe this is our year, and you need to identify those teams. Unfortunately, you've already bolstered 2 of them. So how many can you bolster? There's already the Knicks and there's already the Pacers. We're the kingmakers right now, right? So could we give something to the Cavaliers? Do the Cavaliers need something from us? Who needs something from us?
Would you target Okoro?
I don't really care for Okoro. Why? Do you like
just some POA defender? Just someone.
I feel
kind of like
we
a
need.
Neesmith. He's not as good as him, but
he's definitely not as good as him.
Because wasn't Neesmith a shooting prospect?
I don't remember him as a prospect too well, man.
Yeah, I think he went to Vanderbilt. He was a shooting prospect. Then he went to Boston and he couldn't shoot.
Yeah.
And then he turned into like a defender, and now all of a sudden he can shoot and defend. So that's kind of I want the Raptors to kind of find someone who just figured it out, a couple years later.
Yeah, I mean he's a good player. Definitely never going to live up to that high lottery billing, but no, I look at players like Dyson Daniels that we saw tonight. Like as I mentioned before, I think that's a player that I would give up a few picks for, or something like that. Like I think the Raptors need I don't want to be padding to like the 8th, 9th guy. You know what I mean? Like I want to address roles 1 through 5. Like whatever my pecking order is next year, I want to know before all these draft picks settle in, before free agency, that I have at least 5 of my top 7 rotation players for next year. If Isaac Okoro is one of your top 7 rotation players next year, you're in trouble. So that's where I'm like, Bruce Brown plus a couple picks could get you a significant upgrade on talent there. And sure, like 25 games left or 28 games left, 30 games left, just sit the guy. Who cares? You don't want to win. or maybe play the guy, but then sit Scotty Barnes so you can't win, or sit RJ and Scotty and let him and Emmanuel quickly play. But having 4 instead of 3 would help. And as I say that, I'm reminded that I'm not necessarily completely sold on RJ Barrett being one of those 3.
Yeah, me neither.
So that therein lies, because people get very seduced by the points, right? But they're not seeing a lot of the stuff in
Josh
his game.
getting blown by him
Yeah,
repeatedly.
Blocking him a few times too.
Yeah, that was disgusting.
Yeah, so I mean, like RJ's RJ. Like, he's not a perfect player. But I believe that he has weaknesses that can be shorn up, and I think the Raptors will make reasonable progress with him. And if there's something left in him that is of that upside magnitude, whatever, I hope they'll find it. But this Star J stuff needs to die. It really does, because
I think that's the Canadian thing. Like, if he was like from Mississippi, I don't think that would be there. I think people would be a little more realistic.
Yeah. Antoine Rose, y'all talk about RJ, but IQ gets blocked every game. Yeah, but Emmanuel Quickly is a 6'1", bro.
I will say I have been pretty disappointed in Quickly. Like, I deep down, not deep down, like I still believe in him. Like, I think there's like a real top end point guard, like a top 12, 13 point guard in there. But I mean, I get it's kind of like this is the first time he's been again, seeing real game plans and his starter minutes and against the higher end defensive guards and stuff. So I'm gonna cut him some slack, but I was expecting a little bit more pop. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm just flashing Kepic's or Kepich is dumbest posts. Look at these. IQ will never be a starting point guard. He's
already a solid starting point guard.
Yeah, he is. Okay, chat. If I get 5 W's, this Kepich guy is getting blocked. 5 W's is all it takes. Give me 5 W's, this guy's gone. All right.
What did you think about the Grady versus Jordan? I mean, Jordan, I kind of feel bad for him. By the way, I'm a Pelicans fan, so he doesn't really get to play because the team is just so damn deep. But I was kind of surprised he didn't come in like the second quarter, and they could have just played. We could have got a Grady Dick versus Jordan Hawkins matchup.
Do you need to see it?
I was like, I'm kind of convinced today that Grady's just better. Grady, he has all the intangibles. Like, Jordan really doesn't have that. And now that Grady offensively is looking better, I think it's pretty clear that we got the better prospect.
Wow. Yeah, I think prospect, yes. Player, no. Right?
Like current day, you mean?
Yeah, current day, like Jordan would dust him. Like he's seeing the game faster. His shot is smoother. It's better. He's a better shooter.
The shot for sure, but the size, he's a quicker passing.
Bingo. But for case in point, worth noting, I think. Do you say you're a Pelicans fan?
Yeah, big Pelicans fan.
Interesting. And you're saying this. That's very curious.
I watch him a lot. He's had some big boom like 30-point games, but if you watch him like the other games, it's not that good.
I think Jordan's awesome. Like, I obviously wanted him at the draft. I don't know if you were following Pantera basketball during the draft, but
no, I remember.
He was number 5 on my draft board. Like, I love Jordan Hawkins. I remember, even today when he dunked, I was like, yeah, my man. Like, okay, him and Dyson, like, those are 2 of my favorite prospects in the last 2 draft cycles. And David Griffin got them both, man. It's freaking awesome. I love that team. It was fun to watch tonight. Sucks that the Raptors get busted out by 40, but whatever. I'm not sweating it.
I can give some analysis on Dyson Daniels because you always talk about how much you like him. I really like him well. I will say he's a little too deferential offensively. Like, I feel like most GMs around the NBA are kind of wishing he was a little bit better offensively or more aggressive. You know what I mean?
Right. But do you rate him as a defender?
Oh my God, he's unbelievable.
Right?
Literally unbelievable. The only guy I've seen him give him issues is Devin Booker. Devin Booker, for some reason, just lights up when he sees him, but he's unbelievable. Like, the hands, the the screen navigation, everything.
Yeah.
Is the monster.
Yeah, so like prior to the draft cycle, he was obviously with the G League Ignite, right?
Yeah.
So a buddy of mine is with the same trainer that's training him. And so I got to hear a lot of behind the scenes stuff about Dyson like before the draft cycle, and that's why I wanted him so bad. Because he was just like a lot of the same stuff I heard about Scotty Barnes. Like tell him once, tell him twice, he's got it. It's locked in.
Yeah.
You know, his focus is like fucking crazy in practice. Like he's practicing super hard. He's dripping wet, like completely soaked, shirt soaked, hair soaked in like 10 minutes of practice. That's how you know a guy's taking it seriously. He's always early. So these types of things, like I talked about it yesterday. It's like it's just time. It's hard work over time, you know. And
If
it's
he was
boring.
if he
Go
was
ahead.
like 10% better offensively, he would be like the most coveted prospect, like one of the most coveted prospects. Just a little bit. If there was just a
Yeah,
little extra,
I've always been a little bit higher on him than the average person, but it's because I see him for what he will be as opposed to what he is.
no,
You know,
it could get there. It could get there. I'm
it
just
will
saying.
definitely get there because here's the thing. Like, okay, like so you watch him probably more than I do because I watched maybe I want to say about 45 Dyson Daniels games over the last 2 years. So definitely not every Pelicans game. I don't have time. How would you say his burst and athleticism is like when he tries to go downhill? Do you think he's slow footed? Like athletically, does he give you more like does he remind you of Cade? Or is he like shiftier, burstier, more athletic than Cade?
Oh, he's definitely more athletic than Cade. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing, right? Like I was listening to a Thinking Basketball podcast today, and they were talking about like, let's call them empty calories or, you know, good stats, bad team guys, right? And they were specifically talking about Cade, and they were
Cade and
also
Paolo.
talking Paolo. Did you listen to it?
Yeah, I already listened to it.
Yeah. So there was an interesting talk about, you know, how every single team has a leading scorer ultimately, and you know, you're always going to have one, right? Regardless of how bad a team is, like whether it's Ricky Davis or it's Michael Jordan, you know, someone's going to
Yeah.
lead your team in scoring. And so it got me thinking, it's like, you know, what would a Dyson Daniels team look like? You know what I mean? Like surprisingly, probably not great, but I mean, probably not terrible. You know, like as a primary initiator, I really liked his passing.
That'd be the
Right?
best thing for him, development wise.
Yeah, maybe.
Just let him run wild, and then offensively he'll just get better and better.
He has always been that type of player, and like in ways, he reminds me of like a more guard skill version OG Anunoby.
Yeah,
You
he's a
know,
little more coordinated.
hence the guard. Yeah, like so he's a guard skill, guard athleticism, but very strong.
Yeah,
You know,
super
very
strong, super
very
strong.
big. Like if you see him in person, it's like, oh shit, this guy's 21. What? Like he's jacked. So like he takes the business of basketball very seriously. I have no doubt that he's going to be great. I have no doubt that at some point he's going to start. I would love for him to start for the Raptors. Now, how do you start him and Scotty in the same team? Well, you know, just put 3 like gunners next to them and you have a great team, you know? And I mean, you're already two-thirds of the way there. You know, like, I mean, people were talking earlier about like starting Gradey. I think the previous caller, Araf or whatever, said, you know, starting Grady, and I said that moves Scotty down to 4. I don't have a problem with Scotty moving down to the 4 if Dyson's your 2.
I heard you say that Scotty at the 4, that's too small. I think you're kind of looking at what happened tonight. Tonight that team was just, the Pelicans are huge, and most nights Scotty at the 4 is fine. I think it's fine. He can guard most 4s.
It's not about if he can, it's about if he should, right? Now, obviously we want him lower in the defense. That's where he was thriving last year, but you lose your size advantage, right?
Yeah,
so
you're not
like
plus.
yeah, you're not plus size anymore. So like a lot of your offensive rebounding advantages go away, a lot of your bully ball advantages go away, right? And playing the 4 makes him way more jump shot oriented.
Yeah.
And playing a guard role makes him much more post up oriented. So either way, he's going to flip, right?
And
because
more free throws, yeah.
Yeah. What's interesting is Scotty has been getting to the line a lot more
Finally,
recently.
yeah.
Yeah.
Happy.
Yeah, like when I looked at his analytics profile a couple of weeks ago, that was the one thing I noted was like his free throw rate is abysmal. He needs to get it up, right? So that has been a positive trend for me. It's been like going up. But 3-point attempt rate also, like he has a lot. He has a long way to go before he's like a superstar, right? But he's made about as much progress on this year as any player not named Tyrese Maxey probably in the NBA. If not, probably including Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah,
Actually, definitely including
I
Tyrese
think
Maxey.
he's like legitimately like first or second in MIP, but
He should be.
I don't think he's gonna get it because
He's not, because the team is losing. His numbers aren't nearly as gaudy as they could be. But honestly, like if he puts together like a 20-game run where he's 25, 7, and 7,
yeah,
he'll get it.
there's
He'll
a
get it.
I truly believe there's gonna be like a nice stretch before the season ends when Scotty kind of peaks again. I just think it is
he believes in finishing strong.
Yeah, his wind is kind of gone now. Like he's kind of, I think he's kind of like crawling to the break.
Yeah, I agree. But
you kind of convinced me on man, I think maybe we should really Masai should go after Dyson, but I don't really know what the Raptors could give them.
Bruce Brown and 2 first-round picks. Does that do it?
2 first-round picks, but that's just a bunch of more picks that the Pelicans already have a bunch of picks. But
yeah, I mean, I don't think Dyson's on the move.
I seen somewhere that he was. I don't know if that's true.
I think it's more Herb Jones that they could possibly look at because of Trey Murphy's pending extension. I think the Raptors have positioned themselves in to be pretty big vultures, I feel. Because there are going to be teams out there that are not going to be able to afford like their 3rd or 4th guy, and the Raptors desperately need the 3rd or 4th guy.
Dyson and Quickly would be an unbelievable backcourt, like just perfect.
Defensively, yeah, they would be awesome.
Yeah, but just the winning basketball, just passing, size for Dyson, just it would be really really nice.
I agree. Yeah, I think overall, like it would be really good. Yeah, it would be good. Yeah. What did you take away from Grady's game tonight overall? Like you said, you think he's better than Jordan Hawkins, but what is you think? Like we'll end it on this. Like, what do you think his max upside is? Like, do you see Tyler Hero plus or Gordon Hayward plus? Not to just compare him to a bunch of white guys, but I am.
Yeah.
Or do you see something like where we're seeing defensive flashes here, where he maybe, we never know why guys struggles defensively, right? Some people struggle defensively because they physically cannot defend. Some people don't want to defend, but I always believe the defense is at least 60% effort. So he's clearly showing me effort on that end, and the speed is working and size is working, and he's pretty athletic, right? He's done some stuff that's like, okay, like he's pretty athletic. Do you see some Klay Thompson?
I do. It's funny. I was listening to a Zach Lowe podcast, and he was talking about Tyler Hero, and he was saying he wishes Tyler was more Klay and less Devin Booker. And I was thinking like Grady's going to be better than Tyler. I was just thinking about all the white players in the NBA, and I was thinking about Grady. I was like, Grady knows who he is, and with his talent, like he could be Klay without the defense and without the insane shot making. Just the insane, like just all-time shooting.
Okay, but I mean, in fairness, like Klay without the insane defense and shot making is not Klay.
But that's still. But my point is that's still a top.
It's 60, a starter,
60, top 70 player. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I legit think like this guy is going to be like, I'm impressed. Like just to put this in perspective, I'm very impressed with him. His reads, like how he sees the game, how quickly he processes the game. I realize the speed of the game is still fast for him a little bit, but there is like a catch up. You see it when guys like come to the league and there's a shot that they've been taking a particular way and they've always been able to get it off clean, and then they finally take it in the league and it gets blocked. And they're just like, welcome to the big leagues. That shit doesn't work here. Everyone's fast here. That adjustment of 0.25 seconds, the 0.25 seconds of where a defender is relative to me versus where I am right now. If you're a really, really rehearsed basketball player who's practiced that shot 1,000 times with a defender coming at you, all your angles have now changed. Every angle that you knew your whole life has changed when you go to the NBA. That's what people don't appreciate about like how hard it is for rookies to adjust. Not to mention, like, you've been able to guard your position because you've been 3 inches taller than your man literally your whole life. Now everyone is your size, and oh, bonus, they're twice as strong as you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is so tough to be 20 in the NBA and to play minutes. Like, people are really legit delusional. I think, honestly, I got so mad when people trash Scotty in year 2. But watching those same people do that to Grady this year, I finally understood that I shouldn't have been upset last year. These people are not, they're not mad at Scotty. They're just stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they don't understand anything. So that's exactly it. Like, you just, you know, like, they just don't get it. Like, it's hard, man. It's really hard. Like, to be, you know, if you're playing, here's the thing, 450 players in the NBA, right? Maybe 200 of them play 220, right? To not struggle, you basically have to be one of the top 150 players in the NBA,
In the world, yeah.
which is effectively one of the top 200 players in the world. I will not say top 150 players in the NBA are the top 150 players in the world. There are players in Europe that are, in my opinion, could very flirt. I don't know. 150 is tough, but there are players I know in Europe that would give some guys in the 200 to 250 range some real work. Yeah. But apart from that, yeah, it is like you have to be in the 150. So it's like, imagine trying to tell a lawyer or a doctor who's like in a field of people who are 40, 50, 60 and being like, hey, I know you're in med school right now. I know you're 20. I know your brain hasn't even fucking developed yet. You're 5 years away from your brain fully developing at 25, but we need you to be better than the best neurosurgeon in the world today. It doesn't exist in any way. And by the way, being a neurosurgeon has nothing to do with strength and training. You know what I mean? That's just straight up aptitude, learning, education. Like, so there's so much education that needs to happen. And for people who get impatient with rookies, like, you're like the worst type of fan, you know, writing off rookies after 20 games or 30 games and saying like, oh, this guy's a bust. We should have picked this guy. Just next level stupidity.
It's insane. Like,
yeah, but we never ever get to hear from these people when they're wrong. That's what I want to know. I want to know where these fucking people are who were trying to tell me Tyreek Evans was like the next Michael Jordan. Where are these people? I want to know. They're nowhere to be seen. I swore to God up and down that DeMar DeRozan was better than Tyreek Evans. And people were just like, nah, bro, no. But where are those people now? Tyreek Evans not even in the fucking NBA anymore. So it's like, that's my point. It's like these people, yeah, I don't know. But that's the thing. It's really difficult. I think Grady has shown me over the last 4 months that he takes this very seriously. You know, he's in the gym every day. He's working hard. He's listening to his vets. I've been more impressed with him this year than probably any Raptor. He's like the most impressive.
You made
player.
A point about Grady once. I think I remember you saying that you look at people on the bench and how they carry themselves. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about that, looking at certain guys, and funny enough, Dyson Daniels is exactly like that. Like, it's just serious. Everything's serious. So I think, you know, Grady has a great head on his shoulders, and he's gonna be fine.
He's been very well raised. He has been very well coached. He has good people around him. He has great habits. This is the thing. Like, people, like, they want to assume that, like, you know, like, that it's about basketball. But when you make it to the NBA, it's really usually not even about basketball anymore. Yes, some of it is about basketball. Can you get the advantages? Can you physically still do some of the same stuff that you were doing at the previous level? Can you adjust? Can you learn the plays? Can you deal with the but so much of it comes down to, can you deal with the politics of the NBA? Can you deal with the grind of the NBA? Listening to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander after last night's post game, you got a real insight into greatness when he said, everything about me is consistency and discipline, right? Like, I have this like way that I like to clean my house. I like And I was just like, man.
He said that?
Yeah. So he was doing this interview and he was just like, they were talking about like how, he became so great. And he was just like, I like to do things in a particular way. Like I have a very like specific way that I want to set up my day. I don't waste time. I like, have like this very, very regimented way of doing things. And I'm just like, yeah, that's pretty much all successful people. So it's like whether you're a successful basketball player or a successful podcaster or a successful, fucking surgeon or a philanthropist or a businessman, like you have a process. It's better than the other people in your industry, and that's why you're successful, right? So when Grady comes to the NBA, if he decides that he's gonna doom scroll all night on Instagram and hit up thoughts and be like, fucking sliding into girls' DMs at 4 a.m. when he's got to practice the next morning. Well, guess what? The guy on his team or the guy in the league who's not doing that is going to be ahead of him. So he's got to be serious about it, right? If he's not going to take his nutrition seriously, then he's going to be more prone to injuries. And then he's going to miss valuable development time because he's going to be in rehab. So here's the thing. These guys, these kids who come into the NBA, they got to realize, make 5 years of good decisions, you probably become a billionaire in this lifetime. It's never been that serious before. But really, an athlete coming into the NBA 2023 has a very realistic path, like especially a high lottery pick, has a realistic path to a couple of supermax extensions or max extensions away from maybe like 5 years of smart investment away from $1 billion to play basketball.
Yeah.
It's unheard of. People had to like fucking like do like they had to sell like 1 zillion records and have like like the craziest grind ever. And Jay-Z became a billionaire and Beyonce became a billionaire. These guys can become billionaires putting the ball in the hoop. They don't have to be entrepreneurs either. Like it used to be hard to be a billionaire employee. Usually you had to start your own company, right? But here there is a real opportunity to become a billionaire. LeBron will be a billionaire. Michael Jordan is a billionaire. This is just the tip of the iceberg right now. There's a lot on the line. And basketball is the vehicle to do that. And that is the vehicle for social change. And that is the vehicle for investing in Black businesses and brown businesses. This can be the change of the world, a huge change in the world. So, yeah. Scotty Barnes, Grady Dick, all these guys, 21, 22 years old, keep your head on right. Take your training real fucking seriously. Don't pout. Listen to your coaches. And yes, in your lifetime, you will be billionaires. It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
I just wanted to speak about one last thing.
Sure.
All right. So I was speaking to you yesterday about how I think Darko is a terrific coach, and I still believe in him.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain to me what do you think people see that he's doing wrong? Because when I'm watching him, I'm seeing terrific ATOs and play calling. I'm seeing, the players, or at least specifically just Scotty. He's kind of, there's some relationship there, and he's gotten the best out of him, which to me is a plus, because all summer we were wondering what we were going to get from Scotty, and we've gotten like an all-star. Right. So that's, you're going to have to, that's a check for Darko. So what do you think people see? Because I'm seeing a lot of like people thinking or questioning how he got the job. And I don't really get that. Because he, again,
in moments, I think the job that he's done is tremendous, right? In terms of changing culture, changing habits, getting this team to pass more. Like, we didn't talk about it enough on this channel, but there was a streak that was like Showtime Lakers streak with the 25 assists, etc. Right?
Yeah.
He's gotten his young players to develop. He talked about developing Grady, having a plan for Grady. We're seeing the plan. It's been great.
Yeah.
We saw Jonte Porter. He's been better. Scotty Barnes. He's been better. Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, work in progress. But I promise you, if they stick with this guy for a couple of years, they'll be better.
Yep.
In terms of, wins and losses, of course, it sucks, right? But when you replace Fred VanVleet, I agree. Can you imagine a team that is 41-41, right? Just think about this, just to put this in perspective. Imagine a team that's 41-41, right? And that team replaces Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam with Bruce Brown and Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised this team had one win. I mean, they were 500 pretty much after 20 games. And I think that is in itself a very encouraging thing, because before they completely started to tear down, like, they showed you they can be a 500 team, but they also showed you they could be a 500 team, that they're not going to be much better than that this is not some team that is about to, like, you know, go and win 65 games. I promise you, if they were 15-4 or 15-5 after like 20 games, they don't tear this down.
Yeah. Well,
Promise.
thank God they did.
Right. And that's a good thing, right? Because I think, like, they saw the writing was on the wall. This was going to be a middling core, and investing in it long term was going to result in more middling, more apron frustration, whatever. So tear it down, build up new. And, you know, maybe they also saw that, hey, like, long term, we're going to struggle to build, you know, a reasonable offense around Pascal, Jakob, and Scotty. You know, that could be tough. So it's a clunky fit. I secretly suspect Masai wanted to rebuild like pretty much the entire time he's been here anyway, even though he talks about, you know, never wanting to tank and whatever. No, I think he enjoys the process of, you know, being a sleuth and going international and going dark and finding these like kids and like gyms all over the world. I think this is an exciting thing for him too, from a team building perspective. In terms of why people hate on Darko or whatever, there's a lot of things, man. It's like, it's you know, it's probably the foreign stuff, right? There's maybe a little bit of that, right? He's overwhelmingly positive. And this fan base is overwhelmingly nuts.
There's probably some Siakam stuff there. Like he didn't utilize it correctly.
There's definitely a lot of that stuff that came from the you-know-who elements of our media space, where after about, I want to say 5-6 games, they really started to complain about like, oh my God, do you see how this guy is like treating his golden boy, Scotty Barnes? You see how he's treating Pascal Siakam? He's doing Pascal Siakam dirty. So now there's like a little bit of like vendetta against him. So like, see, you wanted to lose Siakam, now see what happens to you. You know, there's a little bit of that. But whenever I find myself wondering, like, why do Raptor fans hate on this guy or that guy who seems to be doing a great job? You know, like I was seeing very promising stuff from Grady early on, and I would listen to like Raptor fans on Twitter saying like he's not an NBA player, he wouldn't be a second rounder, and I'm just like, yo, if he didn't declare for that draft and he went back to Kansas, he's probably a top 3 pick this year. Like, people don't get it, but he's good. And like, I just maybe top 5 pick. And as I try to figure these things out, I'm reminded, you know, there was a German dictator who had supporters, millions of them. You know, half the country voted for Donald Trump. You know?
Yeah.
You don't need to like, I think we could lose our minds trying to figure out why the Raptor fan base does not support Darko Rajakovic and what he's done. I think the simplest way to say it is probably a lot of them are really dumb.
Or biased.
Biased, dumb, misled, probably, right?
But like, if you look
don't
at it,
really
like,
understand the process of what they're trying to see. They like, we're trying to, like, a lot of people want to offer criticism about something. Like, here's the thing. I used to paint, right? So I used to paint. One of my paintings is literally right here. You want to see it? Hang on one sec. Hold on one sec. I'm gonna pull this up. This is random as fuck. Hold on, I'll pull myself off. All right, can you see this?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, so that's New York. Okay. So my point is, I can paint. Your homeboy can paint.
It's nice.
And I painted a lot when I was younger. So I painted when I was grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, grade 10. Made a big mess, but by the time I was grade 10, I had sold 8 paintings. So I was pretty good at it. I don't know shit about art history though. No idea. Like, what is a Monet? What is like, yeah, okay, yeah, the basic stuff, yeah, but I didn't study it. I don't know it. So I'm not going to go to a museum and try to like offer my critique on what, this painting means or what the expressionist this or that. I don't know. I just painted. I thought it was fun. That was it. It's okay to just not have an opinion about things, but people aren't cool with that. People feel like if you don't have an opinion about something, you're dumb. So they want to have an opinion about Darko and what kind of a job he's doing when he's coaching, and they don't have the slightest clue what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, you just this year you can't have an opinion this year. Maybe next year, maybe definitely the year after.
Well, you can tell people they can't have an opinion, but they're still going to have an opinion.
All right, so just one. I wanted to say this. If you remember, Dwayne Casey, he was notoriously known for being terrible with adjustments, right? And Nick Nurse came in and was the complete opposite. If you think about today's game, immediately Scotty was having trouble guarding Zion. He switches the matchup. He puts Pirtle on Zion. That's adjustments, right? Immediately, like he's shown I'll adjust on the fly, and he's shown, like, to me, some of his ATO and play calling stuff has been terrific. Like every time there's a timeout, I don't know what the points per possession is, like that stat, like which coaches like have the best points per possession for out of timeouts, but I feel like he's got to be pretty high because I feel like they get a good shot every time.
Yeah.
So I don't really know, like, as far as the basketball stuff, he's done a pretty good job, and he's been handed a pretty tough situation with OG and Siakam, knowing that they weren't going to be here.
Yeah.
And as far as off the court stuff, he's done a terrific job with Scotty and Grady. So I feel like he should be getting praised right now. And instead, it's the complete opposite. So
Medved saying here, it took OKC 3-4 years to reach the top with their rookie coach. With Darko, it may only take one season to tank to complete the rebuild process and compete again next season. This would be amazing. Exactly. Right? Like, that's the point. And rational people get it. People who understand basketball, they get it. But the people on Twitter, okay, let me towel off here. Maybe calling these people stupid is not the right way. Maybe that's bad. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I think there's a lot of people out there for whom the Toronto Raptors are an escape from their life. To some extent, like it's an outlet for frustration, anger, love. It's like replacing something. It's like replacing connection. They have a connection to fan base. They have a connection to society. They have a connection, purpose, meaning, right? It's too deep, right? It should never be replacing your relationship with your parents. But for some people, who am I to judge? It does. So when the team is not doing well, there's an immediate need to scapegoat somebody, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like when we get into this sort of like mindset of always externalizing, all losses, it's this guy's fault, that guy's fault, that guy's fault, that guy's fault, like it was Fred, then Nick Nurse, then Pascal, then Dennis Schroeder, right? Then the target almost invariably always just goes, it's like spin the bottle. Like you're almost like spinning it. And it's like, who is it going to be today, right? It can't just be a blameless loss. It can't just be, and if it's not that, it's going to be like, why did Masai put this roster together? Look, here's the thing. Like, Masai made a ton of mistakes last year. I was very critical of them. I'm not seeing a lot of mistakes this year. I'm seeing a lot of cleanup. I'm seeing a lot of, I wish he hadn't, but I'm glad he's doing it now, but not extending Fred to like $40 million. That's not a mistake. That's smart.
That was smart.
Extending Jakob to save face, probably not so smart, but whatever. You can't lose him for nothing. Signing Dennis to a 2-year contract. He's outperformed the contract. I don't like the player, but I acknowledge that it's a good move.
And he's going to have real value.
Let's hope. Yeah, this offseason. He'll be an expiring contract.
Do you think they can get Max Christie for him?
That's funny. Max Christie's
send him back to the Lakers.
That's funny. I'm not sure the Lakers want him, but yeah, that's interesting.
Well, yeah, he has real value is my point.
Yeah, but then you said we might get Max Christie. So,
you don't think so?
No. I'm saying like he has real value could we get Max Christie is kind of like the conundrum here, because
Oh, you're not a fan?
it's not that I'm not a fan of Max Christie. It's just he's not Dyson Daniels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like like
just
what
how
is real value? I mean, like what you're describing is he doesn't have negative value. He has neutral value.
yeah. Well,
You know?
yeah, he's a somebody.
He's a somebody. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I think he could help somebody though. Like, I think Dennis is a legit top 180 player in the NBA, top 160 player in the NBA. And that is definitely a piece that a title contender could use to shore up, an extra 20 minutes off the bench. And I feel somewhat similarly about Chris Boucher and Otto. It's just at some point you can only have so many of these guys on your team.
Gary.
These 150 to 180 guys. Exactly.
Yeah.
At some point you need a couple of top 60 guys. A couple. 3, 4, ideally. 3. Okay,
Or
3 would be great.
Some 110 guys, like guys who are just outside the top 100.
I
right?
feel like Jakob might be in that range. 110, 120. And then, like the rest of these guys are like 160, 150. And it's just
200.
like, yeah. And I mean, like, then you got like your Nawaras of the world. But then you got Jalen McDaniels, who's probably like how many players in the NBA? 450? He's 450, right? So it's like, he might be the bot. Yeah,
He fell for the Alvarado steal like twice. Like, I can't believe that. Like, how does that happen to you twice? You have to have, like, your brain has to be. I don't know what brain you have to fall for something like that twice.
Bro, I hope that guy gets trolled so hard. It's funny. You don't want to see somebody fail on that level, but like Jose Alvarado's been doing that for years. Like literally, you cannot be in the NBA and not know that he's going to do that. And it's funny. He's so sneaky. My girl was like, she came home right as the fourth quarter was happening, and she's watching the screen, and I'm like, "Did you just see him do that?" And she's like, "Do what?" And she's staring right at the screen, and she didn't see it either. He came out of nowhere. He kind of blends in with the bench, and then he comes around and he just dips it. It's should be freaking illegal, man. Should you be allowed to leave the court? Like he pretty much dips towards the bench. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he does. He's funny
sneaky.
thing is he doesn't even play. That's how good the Pelicans are. He's legitimately a really good bench player.
Yeah, he is definitely in that 150 to 200 range though.
Yeah.
But that's the point. So like, how many of those guys, like how many teams could a Jose Alvarado or an Otto Porter or Chris Boucher or Gary Trent, again, maybe they're over leveraged here, but on a better team, they would be a really viable 7th, 8th piece. And those pieces help if you get injured in the playoffs. That might be your season. Those 20 minutes that player gives you could be your season. We'll see what the Denver Nuggets do now without Bruce Brown. It's funny saying
Like,
how,
if you think about the 2019 Raptors, they were coming off the bench with Van Vliet, Ibaka, and Norman Powell. Those are like top 100 guys.
I don't know about 100, but probably 140, 150.
Well, Norm wasn't top 100, but he kind of touched or peaked around top 100 a few years ago.
Fair. Serge was probably 100-ish. Fred was probably 110, 115-ish. Norm was probably 140, 130-ish.
Well, Fred
league
was like the best backup play. Fred might have been the best backup player in the NBA in 2019. He was on.
He was starting in 2019, 2020. He started. He was a second starter.
18-19.
You think he was one of the best? Whoa, really?
He might not. He was the best. He was probably the best bench player in the NBA.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? He was like the 3rd and 6th man of the year in 17-18, if I'm not mistaken. He was like a top 100 player, I think, during the championship year. Absolutely.
I mean, I'm curious now. Okay, let's see. So 18-19, he had a 0.5 box plus minus, dude.
That's a top 100 player.
It's not. The year before he was 2.4. So the 18-19 year, ironically, the 64 games he played was the worst season of his career, apart from his rookie season. Yeah. So Fred's box plus minus is gone, negative 2.1. 2.4. Then he had the dip in 18-19 of 0.5. Then he had the spike to 2.7 as a starter in 19-20. Then we went to Tampa, 2.5. Then he had the All-Star season, which was 3.6. Then he had last year, which was the disaster class at 2.5. Now he's having this year at 3.3. Literally has never touched 0.5 since. Yeah, he was not a top 100 player that year, dude. If I sort by box of mine, if I sorted by value of a replacement for 18-19, he probably ends up sorting out somewhere in the 110 to 130, 140 range. He wasn't negative. That's in itself very good. Probably not 140. He's probably like 110 to 140 or 130. But yeah.
The year before, though.
Yes, he was great the year before.
He was a top 100 player that year. So I'm kind of just, I'm combining that.
In his second year, you think he was a top 100 player? See, again, also like really difficult to compare a bench player to starters.
Just impact wise. I mean, like,
yeah, but also like his impact is coming up against second units, right? It's like saying Emmanuel Quickley, right? Like you take a guy like Emmanuel Quickley and you're like, okay, IQ. Now play against starters. Now you're playing against better defenders, better defensive units. You have like more responsibilities in the starting lineup. It's really difficult. I think there's probably a case to be made that he was close, but like it's hard for me to get there with him, man. Because it's like, yeah, like I mean that 18-19 team, like I'm not even sure he was. Like for sure, 18-19, I'm pretty sure he wasn't even the best bench player on this team.
But going back to your point about like the Raptors used to have guys who were too good to be bench players, and now they have guys who aren't good enough to be bench players. So that's kind of my like I might have oversold it, but Fred was really good like on the come up, and then he got extremely overrated. But on the come up, he was being held back. And
yeah. No, I hear you. In terms of, okay, so this is interesting. So as a Raptor, so Marc Gasol only played 26 games, mind you. So this is just Raptors related stats for the year. That was the championship run. I'll share my screen with you just so you have it in front of you as well. Fred was 6th on the team in value of a replacement. Right there. So there's Fred. Players above him were Serge Ibaka, Danny Green, Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, and Kawhi Leonard. If you sort for boxes minus, he was 9th on his own team.
Is that DeLon Wright? Is that DeLon Wright?
Yep. DeLon Wright above him, Danny Green, Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, Chris Boucher, Marc Gasol, Jonas Valanciunas, and Kawhi Leonard. So, yeah. I mean, to just put that into perspective, Fred was not a top 100 player that year. Again, that was 18-19. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. The championship year, he wasn't good. You want to sort by true shooting percentage,
But literally the next year he was, and then the year prior, impact wise, he was. So I'm kind of like, he might not have been one that year, but he kind of like it was coming. If you know what I mean.
Sure. I mean, we can look at the previous season. I'm curious. I'm always curious about Raptors history. We'll go to the post games right after this, but I'm actually curious myself because never pass up an opportunity to get smarter about basketball. So Fred VanVleet was 5th in value of replacement. Guess who was better than him that year, though? DeLon Wright.
Yeah, DeLon Wright. DeLon Wright was the one who got away.
I love DeLon, man. I'm so sad. Like, if we don't get Nick Nurse as a fucking coach, it's probably DeLon Wright who ends up staying. Like, it's the craziest thing, right? He played 7 less games. He had a higher value of replacement. He had a higher boxes minus. He had a higher defensive boxes minus. He had a higher win shares per 48. Yeah. He was a better fucking player. He shot better from the field.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
He was really good in that Wizards series, I remember. He did a pretty good job on John Wall.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that. He was really good.
He was awesome. I
can't believe he hasn't been on like a contending team in the past, 5-6 years. It's kind of
I agree. And like that's the crazy thing. It's like, look at this. Like if you ask the average fan 2017, 2018 Raptors who was who were the top 4 players in terms of value of replacement on that team. I think these 3 are easy to guess. Kyle, DeMar, and Jonas, right? But I feel like people would guess 4 names before they got to DeLon Wright.
Yeah.
For sure. They would guess Fred. They would guess Pascal. They'd guess Serge. They might guess Jakob. But no, man. They might even guess Norm, who was negative value of replacement that year. The only player on the team that was negative that year. He was awful. So, yeah. Anyways, good chat, Lil John. Appreciate it as always, man.
All right, man. See you, man.
See ya. All right. Okay, let's go to the post game.
Fatigue would probably be a factor in tonight's game, just given the double overtime against OKC. But what did you?
He looks so. He looks so angry. He's so pissed. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be laughing. But he just looks so angry. Look at his face. I mean, Darko, it's okay. It's okay. There's no need to be angry,
you
man.
See out there from your guys today, especially because they did have a bit of a spark in the second?
Fatigue is part of this league. And this is a league that there are no excuses. And nobody's asking you, what did you do yesterday? You have a job to do today. And our performance today was unacceptable. And this is not the way we want to go about the business. We just did not do enough in any area tonight to be a competitive team.
I mean, when you look at that, does it break down differently for the starters or some of the guys you brought off the bench? I mean, a lot of times you have guys who are dying for minutes and then they have an opportunity.
We are a team, and tonight it was a whole team that failed, from starters to bench to guys at the end that came out to play in the fourth quarter. That's not it. That's not it. And after playing very competitive game yesterday and went into 2 overtimes, this was very disappointing, the way we performed today.
Is that the message you delivered to them?
Yes.
I mean, obviously, like you were saying, there are lots of excuses you could give, but...
We don't look for excuses. That's not how we want to build. That's not how I'm built. As I said, we have a job. We have a privilege to have this job, to play and perform in NBA. And when 7 p.m. Is there, you got to be ready. And we just did not do the good enough job tonight in that area.
I know that it's hard to be ready, and there's no excuses, absolutely. But I would say potentially a silver lining might be Grady's performance tonight, as he had a career high as a rookie. What did you see from him?
He was able to get on the spots on the floor to get open shots. He was able to get a couple of really good cuts. I thought that there were a couple of opportunities more for him to do that. He did a good job today on offensive end, but as a whole team, he needs to do better on defensive end and rebounding. And I do not like to point out players in the performance like we had tonight.
Was there you said unacceptable. Was there any particular aspect that you didn't like, whether it's perimeter defense? I know they had 19 threes and Ingram made 5 in a row there. Was that anything? Was there something like that?
It was a lot of stuff. It was from aggressiveness on the ball. It was in the first quarter rebounding. It was getting back in transition. We were just like one step late on everything we were doing tonight, and that included those pick and roll defense. And we were on the wrong side there, trying to send him to the left hand, and we just did not execute what we were supposed to do tonight.
All right, before we dive into your individual performance tonight, just give me your overall thoughts on what you saw out there tonight as a team.
I mean, all respect, to the Pelicans. They're a physical team, that just plays hard, every possession. But, I felt like we came out aggressive, in certain points that we were happy with, obviously. And, it was just a competitive game. And then some points in the second half where it was just, we talked about it after that, we just need to be locked in, for a whole game. And just play hard every second, carry on to the next one.
Coach said that you were finding your spots out there offensively on the court. What did you see that was working for you?
I'm just taking what the defense was giving me. Like he said, when I'm trying to maneuver around the court, like he said, find my spots. And, it's just one of the things where the offense is going and we're moving the ball. and not really letting it stick, and that just helps me and helps our team. And I think it, when you have an unselfish, playing group, it just makes a lot more, gaps where they wouldn't be open before, but they are now that we move the ball. So.
What tone did Darko come in with there after the game? Like, obviously, it was a really tough game last night, and that's a really good team you're playing tonight. But you also don't want to get into the habit of making those excuses, right? So how did he come in, just tone-wise?
I think it's just that, no excuses. And like you said, it's, the end of a back-to-back, and that's no excuse at all. We can't come in here and, try to give reasons to that. It's really just, like I said earlier, just coming in and, playing with that aggression and really just the dog mentality to go out and how tired we are, just to play every, possession like it's our last. And, we got to regroup after this and just carry on to the next game and remember that as a whole and just keep being unselfish and just keep, being the good guys that we are in the locker room and just put that out on the floor.
We talked earlier in the season about Garrett and his kind of mentorship role, and as the season has progressed for you, have you kind of, some of those messages he was delivering early in the year, they've started to kind of resonate, and you kind of see where he's coming from in some of those messages?
Of course, Garrett's amazing. He always is, and he's, I can't say the best vet I've ever had because I've only had one, but he's got to be, the best vet out there. And in terms of actually just caring about me, not only as a basketball player but as a person. And I think to answer that question, it's really just the advice of how grueling the season is, how long it is, and when there's ever times where you're going to have your ups and downs, and when you get in your downs, I always have someone to go to and kind of talk my way out of it with him. And there's been points where I have, and like I said, I don't even know what game we're at, but it's into that part of the season where it's kind of that February time where guys start to feel it really, and I definitely have felt it, but here and there. But I think that's just it's normal and NBA basketball. And so whenever I feel like that, I just go straight to him and Thad, whoever it is, and they're great guys with that.
It's never ideal to have your career high on a game like tonight where you guys lost. But taking nothing for granted, especially as a rookie, how did it feel to have a career high tonight?
I never want to talk about obviously that when we lose a game like that, and so I don't mean it in selfish way at all, but away from how we played and the end of the game. It's special to put up those points, obviously, because I talk about all the time of it being my dream to be in the NBA. So for me to go out there and play that way offensively is a dream come true, obviously. But like you said, in the end, we just got to figure out what we can do as a team and to make it feel better, obviously, if we get a win and at the same time. So.
You had that run in the second quarter, I guess, and was it good to feel in a flow? It doesn't, probably hasn't happened all that many times this year where you just probably could just let it come and the game seemed easy maybe.
Yeah, just getting comfortable, as the possessions kept going, and like you said, finding my groove with the shots, and it's obviously a lot easier to get past when you're making shots. So that's going to be with any team, and like I was talking about with the unselfish guys on this team is they're always going to find that one more pass, and we continue to make a great pass make a good pass into a great pass, and we're gonna really evolve and be the team we need to be.
Thanks for watching the Toronto Raptors.
I was trying to avoid that and I couldn't avoid it. It just comes out of nowhere. Thanks for watching. I was trying so hard. Yeah, he's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine, and just make it clear. I have defended the guy when he was really bad for most of the year because, as I mentioned in the earlier conversation with Lil Jon, it's really hard to be 20 years old in the NBA. It really is. Yes, my girlfriend's cat is behind me, and he's wondering what to do now because he's stuck in the room. But yeah. Anyways, I want to thank y'all for I'm glad they're putting that $4.5 million to use, man. For real. I don't like to count anyone's money, but that might be the stupidest money the Raptors have spent in the last 5 years. He's not an NBA player. I don't think he's an NBA player right now. And I'm just trying to be real about it. Like his mentality shocks me on a day-to-day basis. Just his approach to the game on a day-to-day basis. Just yuck, not great. Anyways, yeah, I'm looking forward to the trade deadline. Obviously, we'll get you guys covered on that. We'll do like a 4 or 5 hour live, going into the trade deadline, go through the trade deadline. I expect some action for the Raptors side. It would be very disappointing if the Raptors don't make a move. They need to make a move, even if it's cap clearing. Guys like Chris Boucher, no offense, there's no place. There's no place on this team for a 31-year-old that good. He deserves a chance to compete for something, to play for something. He's not really part of the future. So, yeah. Yeah, I agree. He's terrible. Yeah. And yeah, I got to get back to Penn Dance prep. And yes, on the upside, there was a sponsor, I guess like a group that reached out to us. I think I mentioned it earlier. They run sponsorships for like some of the biggest not Raptors, like basketball channels on YouTube. And they reached out to us. And I'm going to have a meeting with them on Thursday. So hopefully that sets up something as well. So that's going to be good. Arman saying good luck with Penn Dance. Thank you so much, man. We have some really good stuff every single day. We get a new message from a filmmaker who's coming from France. Can't wait to welcome all these people, man. Clutch Tatum saying, how long is Penn Dance though? Penn Dance is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, February 22nd to 25th. So yeah. Anyways, let's get that ad and I'm out of here. Peace, guys. Sponsor. The Penn Dance Film Festival is happening February 22nd to 25th. It is a celebration of international films. It is a brilliant film festival in its 7th season. Prior to the COVID pandemic, it was the fastest growing film festival in the world. What is my affiliation with Penn Dance? What are they paying me to say this? Well, I am Penn Dance. I'm the festival director and founder of Penn Dance. It is my baby. And if you love great films, if you have a film lover in your life, this is a worthwhile event for you, happening in downtown Toronto at the Carlton Cinema, February 22nd to 25th. Make sure to check us out. Link is in the description below for tickets and passes. Tickets will go on sale soon. Passes are already on sale. Let's get to this. I do want to, because some people mentioned that they had some trouble figuring it out. So I just want to show you something real quick. So we did list all of we updated the site and everything. So this is the poster. I designed it. Yay. Right. Pretty cool. Yeah. So all of our features, all of the shorts, workshops are coming up. But yeah. So these are the 5 features coming to Penn Dance. There's some really good ones, man. Some really cool things coming. And then there's a whole bunch of shorts. It's like 36 shorts. This one is awesome. It's like, man, I wish I could show you guys the trailers. I'll definitely pull up the trailers at some point leading up to the event. I think you're going to like really like some of these. This is a hilarious block of shorts, just hilarious. And then this one is coming from my home region of Yugoslavia. Yeah, there's some incredible films coming, man. Probably not doing the greatest job of settling it up, but I'll take you through a little bit of the shorts. So I don't know how many of you actually watch shorts in a theater, but it's interesting. And if you attend Penn Dance, you get to actually ask the filmmakers about their shorts, what they were doing, what they were thinking. It gives you a little interesting insight into the mind of those filmmakers. A lot of stories this year at Penn Dance have a lot to do with parents, parenthood, life, and it's a very life affirming type of film festival. So yeah, To My Parents is like a really interesting block. It includes like this one short by a filmmaker in Toronto named Queena, and she's basically doing a documentary asking her parents about her father's dementia. I think not dementia. He had a bipolar disorder that was diagnosed 10 years ago. So she does an interview with her whole family through the context of this film, asking like how this diagnosis has shaped their life over 10 years. And as you know, in immigrant families, sometimes conversations are not always brought to the surface. So this film sort of puts those conversations in surface. So I thought it was interesting. There's a lot like that, you know. There's an entire film about a man who takes care of his 86-year-old mother. I think these are things that we all face on a day-to-day basis. You know, I remember asking an Indian actor that I was going to work with. He was like a big Bollywood actor. And I remember telling him, I'm like, yo, I've kind of checked out some of your films, you know, not your film specifically, but like the industry's films. And I found them to be very, to put it lightly, kind of dumb and sort of like very cookie cutter and like a little too happy. And then so he mentioned that when people's lives are tough, they don't want to engage with tough things. They don't want to see their life is hard. They got debt, they got sickness, they got inflation. They want to go and escape. They want to use their time at the movies to go and watch the shit explode. You know, they're not going there to be bogged down by other people's problems. But I think that these films that can make you think and make you feel and ask questions of yourself, these are very important. I understand, though, that they're not for everybody, because for the vast majority of people in this world, I think they have their own problems. They're like, I'm not going to a cinema and paying, you know, 15, 20 bucks to go and watch somebody else's problems or somebody else's whatever. That's not to say all films at Pendants are heavy. There's like some really funny ones. There's a very interesting, hang on, let me see if I can find it here. There's a film from Cuba making its world premiere at Pendants. Let's see if I can find it, find the trailer for it. Why? Damn it. It's not going to let me log in. Okay, I'll do a better job. I'll do a better job of figuring that out. At some point, we'll go through some trailers. But yeah, anyways, definitely consider checking it out. And, you know, if you're someone in financial need, or you're someone, I don't ever want, you know, money to get in the way of people having like a really big experience at the cinema, shoot me an email. If financial need is your thing, I'll hook you up with tickets to a film of your choosing. I promise I will do that for this community. That's an open offer to literally anyone. If you're downtown, it's happening at the Carlton Cinema, which is at College Station. If you're downtown, you want to check it out, you want to meet me in person, definitely come out and, you know, support awesome filmmakers. All right. Take care and see you guys. Wait, Pendants is $20? No, that's one film. One film is 20 bucks. If you like this hoodie, the Story Over Everything hoodie, which I designed 5 years ago, if you get a VIP pass, you get one of these too. So yeah. Oh, that's nice, man. Thank you. But I promise the films are better than me. I promise. Okay. Take care, guys. See ya. Will show zone of interest. What? Thank you. Appreciate it. I have designed all of our posters, and there was one where I didn't quite design it, but like I kind of designed it. So yeah, I'm very hands-on about this stuff. Anyways, talk to you later, guys. Peace.